I'm New Age Server Alarm and welcome back to Alert Tech Security. This right here is a panel called the CareTaker Plus. The CareTaker Plus is an evolution of a panel called the CareTaker, which itself was an evolution of the SX5. The CareTaker Plus was the first to introduce the Learn Mode sensors that are now pretty much the standard on ITI systems and a whole lot of other systems that came later. And also one of ITI's first panels with telephone control. The CareTaker Plus, at its base, is a home security system, but it is also capable of doing home automation by controlling X10 lighting modules, and also via the energy saver module for controlling the heat and cooling in the person's house. The big thing about this particular system, though, is all of this is remote controllable through the telephone. So throughout this video, you will be seeing me going between the keypad and the telephone to demonstrate different things. Later on in the video, I will also be doing a demonstration of remote access, so you can control the system from anywhere in the world. I will give a friendly warning, this will be a pretty long video because there's a lot of stuff about this system that I want to show. So, enjoy!
Sensor 3, okay. You have pressed the panic.
So this right here is the keypad for the CareTaker Plus. It's simple to operate. The text above each button represents a command that you can press, and you essentially just enter your code and then press the command you want.
Alarm system is off.
Some commands do not require the code to be pressed, like for example the energy saver module.
Energy saver is on. Energy saver is off.
In that case, you just press the command key, as I did there. 6 has no function, and 4 is the only one that does not work normally. Up above the keypad, I have a glass jar light. I've got a speaker that's hooked up to the panel. Below the keypad, I've got a bunch of things going on. I've got this old ADT pull station here, and that's part of the system. I've got an X10 wall switch, which turns on the light above the panel. I've got the ITI Energy Saver module, a pretty generic Honeywell thermostat, and a little indicator light box with a red LED and a blue LED. You'll see a little bit later when I talk about the Energy Saver what these are for. And finally, under the panel, I have an SX5 door contact wired to the CareTaker Plus. So let's go ahead and have a look at the inside. So here's the inside of the CareTaker Plus. So first of all, this board here on the right side, that is the CPU board. And that is just the main motherboard, which has the 6 onboard zones, the dialer, the telephone interface, the automation interface, the voice driver, and all the stuff necessary to make the system operate. Down here there's a terminal block. These are the 6 zones, and as you can see the motherboard disappears behind this board here. This is called the feature expansion board. Basically what this does is it adds the energy saver feature, a second siren driver, and resettable power for smoke detectors. Lastly, this board right here connected with a ribbon cable is the wireless radio that is used to communicate with ITI sensors. Over here there's a small button, and that's actually the panel tamper switch. It is held in by the cover when the cover is on. If you look inside the cover, this little black thing here pushes in that button. On this side of the panel, we've got a switch here that's labeled bypass, tamper, and normal. And despite that labeling, that's actually the system programming switch. When you flip that switch on, the panel goes into programming mode. And then lastly, this button up here is memory clear, and that erases all the panel's programming and resets it to factory defaults. It's a button I do not want to press on this particular panel. Here's what the system does when you actually press that button, though.
Memory, goodbye.
Anyway, let's go ahead and close it back up. There we go. Now, I do have another one of these panels. It's actually a variation on the CareTaker Plus. It looks essentially the same, except it doesn't have the two expansion boards that the CareTaker Plus does. But this does give you a look of the entire motherboard and what it looks like with nothing connected. Now let's start with a basic demonstration of the security features of the CareTaker Plus. So first let's just go ahead and arm the system away. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 3.
Alarm system is on level 3.
So now the system is in exit delay, and that lasts about 30 seconds. When the exit delay is completed, you'll hear 3 beeps. There we go. Now the system is armed away. So now let's go ahead and open the front door. Now the system is beeping to let you know you need to disarm it, so...
Alarm system is off. Energy saver is off.
Now the system is disarmed. We can close the front door. So now this time, let's arm it again, except this time it will arm stay, but we'll do it through the telephone. And then we're going to set the alarm off. To use the telephone interface locally, as in within the customer's house, you pick up the phone and you press star. Then it just works like the other keypad.
Alarm system is on level 2.
And like before, the exit delay is on. So let's actually disarm it.
Alarm system is off. Energy saver is off.
But this time we're going to arm it with no delay. So as you can see, no delay is command number 4 on the keypad. Like for example, if I were to just type, oops. Command number 4 is different because it's actually a modifier, not a command. So for example, if I were to just type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, it doesn't do anything. Instead, you press 4 after pressing either 2 or 3. So...
Alarm system is on level 2. No delay.
So as you can see, now it is armed as no delay, meaning that there will be no entry delay and it'll go straight into alarm. Now take a look at the display on the keypad here. This is one unfortunate thing about how vacuum fluorescent displays age. Essentially, when this system was in service, this part of the screen would be lit constantly, but this part of the screen is not always lit. The vacuum fluorescent display has actually faded in that particular part. Unfortunately, all my CareTaker Plus keypads have this issue. It's just an age-related issue, and the only way to fix it is to replace the vacuum fluorescent display with another one. Anyway though, let's go ahead and set off an alarm now, so you'll be able to hear what the burglary siren sounds like.
Intrusion. Intrusion. Sensor 2. Alarm system is off. Energy saver is off.
The CS4000 central station receiver has answered a call from the panel and is about to receive the alarm. You can also see here that because I disarmed it pretty quickly, it immediately sends a canceled report after that. So now the 1 is blinking here because the kitchen window is still open, so we can press status.
Sensor 2. Alarm memory.
And the panel has indicated that an alarm did occur on sensor 2.
Alarm system is off. Sensor 2 open.
On the second status press, you heard the panel inform that the sensor 2 is still open, which is the kitchen window, so let's go ahead and close that. Zone number 3 is labeled library motion, and that is an interior zone. And it would pretty much do the same as any of the other zones if I were to alarm it. Zone number 4, though, is a local self-resetting alarm zone, meaning when I flip this on, the alarm sounds, and when I flip it back off, the alarm stops sounding. The reason why it's called local is because it does not actually report to the central station receiver. So, here we go.
Help, help, sensor 4.
And then next, of course, we've got the panic keys here, police, auxiliary, and fire. And these are pretty self-explanatory. Just hold it down and...
Alarm.
And that
system
immediately...
is off. Alarm bypassed. Energy saver is off.
And that immediately transmits to the central station. And actually what happened there was, because I canceled it so fast, it actually hung up before it dialed. On the telephone interface, there is also a local panic feature as well. If I take the phone off the hook and press star 6 times, that triggers it, like this.
Help, help, sensor. Alarm system is off. Energy saver is off.
So now basically, anywhere in the house that you have a telephone, you've also got a panic key for your security system. Here is an interesting thing about the telephone interface. Remember how I said on the keypad that 6 has no label? Well, on the telephone, 6 is actually bypass. Because the keypad has a dedicated bypass key, but obviously the telephone does not. One thing that's typical about most ITI systems, though, is you can't actually bypass a sensor while the system is disarmed. So, for example, if I were to try that right now,
Invalid.
it fails on the keypad. So, first of all, let's just arm the system, and then we'll try it.
Alarm system is on level 3. No delay.
So now let's say we want to open the kitchen window, which of course is going to set the alarm off.
Sensor 2 bypassed.
Just like that. So now, if I activate sensor 2, nothing happens. Just like that. And you'll notice very dimly on the keypad that the 3 is blinking. And that's indicating that something is off normal, so we can now check the status, which we can either press status on the keypad, or we can press pound on the telephone.
Alarm system is on level 3. No delay. Sensor 2 bypassed.
Now, one more thing about status. If you press it twice, you're going to get a full system status.
Hello, alarm system is on level 3. No delay. Sensor 2 bypassed. System battery is okay. AC power is okay. Energy saver is off. Temperature is 73 degrees. Goodbye.
So let's go ahead and disarm now. Whoop, that key.
Alarm system is off. Energy saver is off.
That key got stuck on the telephone there. One last thing about bypassing is if you try to arm the system while one of the sensors is open, it's going to go into a mode called protest. Basically what's happening is that the panel is protesting the system being armed because there's a sensor that is still open. When in protest, you have 2 options. Option number 1 is you can accept the protest by pressing bypass twice. This will automatically bypass the zone and force arm the panel. Or you can cancel the protest and fix the open sensor and then arm again.
Sensor 2 open. Alarm system is on level 3. Sensor 2 bypassed.
Now for the rest of the keypad functions, it's pretty straightforward. 7 is chime, so...
On.
Of course, the library motion is an interior zone, so that won't chime. And that one's an auxiliary alarm, so that one doesn't chime either. So, reset that alarm.
Alarm system is off. Energy saver is off.
And reset the chime. That's pretty much the basic security functions. Now let's do a demonstration of what the fire alarm sounds like.
Fire, fire, sensor 6. Energy saver is off.
And we'll go ahead and reset that pull station now. Loosen the screw, slide it down, flip the switch, go back up, and then tighten the screw back in. And then close the door. So as you can see, that kind of sounded like a 7002T, but that's what the fire alarm sounds like on this particular panel. So remember I mentioned at the beginning of the video that there was an SX5 sensor on the bottom of the panel. This is set up as what's called a buddy transmitter. Because ITI had a pretty interesting idea back in the 80s with the SX5 that they later carried over to their newer panels. And then for some reason after that it just kind of disappeared. So let's say you got a situation where your phone line has been cut and now the panel is unable to report an emergency. There is an output inside the panel right here called FTC. That means fail to communicate. If the panel were to detect a condition where it can no longer communicate with the central station because there's no phone line available, it will activate the buddy transmitter, and then a nearby SX5 would receive it. The idea ITI had was like, imagine a security company's installing a whole bunch of security systems like all over a neighborhood, and since all the houses are in close proximity to each other, their radio ranges could overlap. So why not build in a feature where a panel could report through another panel in a situation where that panel has no telephone connection? The unfortunate part about this implementation is that it could have been a little bit better. All it's doing is just a contact closure and indicating an alarm. It doesn't indicate why or what the alarm is, just that something happened. Let's go ahead and do a demonstration of that now. So now this is going to occur very quickly, so watch carefully. I'm going to send an alarm from the keypad on the CareTaker Plus, and you will notice the display on the SX5 will light up, and then it'll start dialing, and then you'll notice the central station receiver will receive the buddy alarm. So here we go.
Alarm system is off. Alarm bypassed. Energy saver is off.
The SX5 has just gone off the hook now, and is communicating with the CS4000. It's slow. Give it a bit. Now, as you can see on the CS4000 display, we have an alarm buddy system. Now, the neat thing about this is it's actually reporting the account number of the CareTaker Plus, not the account number of the SX5. This was something you would need to program on the SX5 through the CS4000. But essentially, this indicates to the operator that the CareTaker Plus system has transmitted an alarm through the SX5 to the CS4000. Like I said earlier, it's kind of a limited feature. At this point, you would have to figure out what the alarm was. So I guess you would do some sort of standard dispatch, like maybe send a police car or fire truck or something because you don't know what's going on. Now if we go over to the SX5 and have a look, you can see that 00 is flashing on the display. And if we zoom in on the keypad, we can see that the 0 is flashing. So if we press status on the SX5, you see it says buddy report, meaning that a buddy transmitter was activated and that the SX5 sent a buddy report. So we'll go ahead and reset the SX5. And now the SX5 is back to normal. So now let's do a demonstration of the X10 features of this system. For those not familiar with X10, it is a wireless home automation protocol that came out in the 1970s. X10 is a power line signaling system, meaning it sends radio signals modulated over the power lines inside the user's house. This glass jar light above the panel that you saw earlier is controlled by X10, and the system is able to control it. On the other side of the basement, you'll see I've got a lamp next to my vintage entertainment center and my old toaster, and I've got another lamp behind the couch in my vintage entertainment center area. These two lamps also have X10 modules as well, and they will also be controlled by this system. So this can be controlled using the keypad or the telephone. So first of all, the lights key right here. This is an all lights on and all lights off key. So if we just press Command 0, all the lights come on pretty much simultaneously. Press Command 0 again.
Off.
All the lights turn off. And now you can control an individual light using the keypad as well, 1 through 9. So you can control up to 9 lights individually. And the way this is done, oddly enough, is with the bypass key. So you press bypass and then you press the key for the light you want. Like for example, the light above the panel.
1 on.
And then the light next to the toaster.
2 on.
And then the light over the couch.
3 on.
Just like that. And then we can turn them all back off individually.
1 off. 2 off. 3 off.
Just like that. With the telephone interface, all you can do is turn on or off all of the lights. There's no individual control on the telephone interface, unfortunately. Now the X10 feature does do some other things when the system is in alarm though. First I'll demonstrate a burglary alarm, and we'll just do a police panic for that.
Help. Help. Sensor 8 1. Help. Help. Sensor 8 1. Alarm system is off. Energy saver is off.
So as you can see, all the lights that have X10 modules on them in the house flash at the same time. And then when you disarm the system, they all turn on and stay on. So go ahead and reset the lights.
Off.
So I'll show you what they do in fire mode. So if I hold down fire,
Fire. Fire. Sensor 8 0. Alarm system is off. Energy saver is off.
on a fire alarm, they just come on and stay on. This is actually a convenience feature that ITI thought of. Like, for example, if there's a fire in the house, turn on all the lights to help the occupants escape. So turn that off again.
Off.
Now, one last thing that this panel does with X10 is any lamp module that is set to address number 1 is unique. So if I arm the system, watch this.
Alarm system is on level 2.
So you'll notice how the light above the panel turned on, but none of the other lamps did. This light will stay on for 5 minutes, and then the panel will automatically shut it back off later. The idea behind this is, like, for example, you could put an X10 wall switch on your outside light, and then when you arm the system, the light comes on to light up your path to your car or something. And then after that, you drive away, and the system just turns the light off for you. Just another little convenience feature that ITI came up with. But we can just turn that light off ourselves.
1 off.
Just like that. And that's pretty much all the X10 features of the system. So for the last part of the video, I'm going to do a demonstration of the Energy Saver module. That is this box right here, and as you can see inside, there's not a lot to it. There's a terminal block, there's a relay, there's a potentiometer to adjust the temperature threshold, and then there's this big gray thing here which is a freeze sensor. So if the temperature drops below 40 degrees, it'll transmit a freeze alarm to the central station. Pop that back on. Now this right here is just a typical thermostat. This is a very common model you can just buy at a hardware store. And lastly, this little box here is just a pair of indicator lights. Blue means that the air conditioning is running, and red means that the heat is running. It's currently very warm in this room, and it is summertime right now, so let's pretend it's air conditioning season. So the Energy Saver is designed to bypass your normal thermostat and allow the CareTaker Plus to control the temperature of your house. The way this is done is by setting a high and a low temperature, and this is done through the keypad or through the telephone. So here's an example use case. Let's say you are going to work. You can engage the energy saver module, and that will turn off your air conditioning. So to engage the energy saver module, it's command number 5 on the keypad, so
energy saver is on.
as you can see now, the energy saver has cut off the thermostat and shut off the air conditioning. There are 2 set points you can set in the module. One of the set points is a low temperature. The other set point is a high temperature. Low temperature meaning if it goes below the low temperature, we should turn on the heating. If it goes above the high temperature, we should turn on the cooling. And you can set these temperatures through the keypad or through the telephone. So it's the early 90s, and you just got to work, and you want to check on how your security system is doing. Well, the CareTaker Plus was designed with remote access capability built in via telephone. Similar to the Star phone, which you've seen a video of in the past, it allows pretty much complete control over the system with a few small, minor things. But to access it is a little bit interesting. So when ITI was designing the telephone integration, they came up with 2 methods for accessing the system. One method is called the 12 rings method, and essentially what this means is you call your system, you allow it to ring 12 times, and then the system will answer. But while developing the system, ITI realized that it's quite possible that a customer will have an answering machine, which means that the answering machine would answer before the 12 rings have completed. So to compensate for this, ITI came up with a feature called the ring-hang-ring method. So the way ring-hang-ring works is we first have to call the system. We allow it to ring 1 time, and when it starts to ring the 2nd time, we hang up. Just like that. Now we need to wait a minimum of 10 seconds or a maximum of 40 seconds before we call the system a 2nd time. So give that a little bit.
System, hello.
So the system has answered, and now we need to enter star, then our code, and then pound. Now we've logged into the system, so now we can use a command such as status.
Hello, alarm. System is off. System battery is okay. AC power is okay. Energy saver is on. Temperature is 75 degrees.
So now let's say that the person going to work was having a bad morning and they forgot to arm their system.
Alarm. System is on. Level 3.
We can check the status again.
Hello, alarm. System is on. Level 3. System battery is okay. AC power is okay. Energy saver is on. Temperature is 75 degrees.
So right now we had that thermostat set to 65 degrees, but the current temperature is 75 degrees. So the only reason I did that is just to keep the line active so it doesn't hang up on us while I'm doing this video. Currently, the temperature in the room is 75 degrees. Our thermostat is set on 65 degrees, and before I started recording this video, I set the high temperature to 79 degrees. Now let's say we kind of want to change the temperature. So we can do that through the telephone by just pressing 1, 2, 3, 4, pound, and then 4 for the high temperature. Then we enter in a new high temperature, let's say...
Invalid.
I waited too long to do it, let's try it again.
Energy saver. High temperature is 70 degrees.
Just like that. So now at this point, the temperature is set to 70, so the energy saver will actually turn on the air conditioner and start cooling down the house. So now we'll just reset that back.
Energy saver. High temperature is 79 degrees.
And then the energy saver will turn back off. So now let's say it's time for the employee to go home from work. They got a pretty long commute, why not cool their house down? So, using the telephone interface, we can actually disable the energy saver
Alarm
module
system
remotely.
is on
And this is done
level
using the
3.
same command on the keypad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Energy saver is off.
And now that the energy saver has been disabled, the normal thermostat will kick on the air conditioning, and then the house will start cooling off as they go home. Anyway, that's essentially how the telephone interface works, so now let's just hang up on the panel.
System, goodbye.
Looks like the panel just hung up on us before I hung up on it. Perfect timing. That concludes the demonstration of the CareTaker Plus system. I know this was a long video, because there was just so much I wanted to show about this system. I think it's a pretty neat entry in the history of security systems, though, being one of the first residential panels to combine home security and home automation into one. It laid the building blocks for future ITI panels. A lot of the things this panel does were carried over to newer systems such as the UltraGuard and the Concord. A lot of the things that they do are very similar to what this one does. According to some research I found, they sold a lot of these panels, so they were quite popular and quite successful. Unfortunately, they are very difficult to find now, and I'm glad I was able to get one. Well, anyway, though, if you made it through the entire video without skipping any parts, I really thank you for watching, because it took me a long time to prepare this video. So please consider subscribing to me, and please definitely put a like, and if you want to, write a comment. Have a great day, everyone.
You can trust your family and home to the advanced technology of the CareTaker Plus.